Took off like a rocket on that ramp. Kind of broke off. We have RPM arms. We have MIP and M2C CRCU ones right there. The V for an older stock one. One is the 18,000 RPM one, and a Proline Enforcer. Welcome to another workbench vid. This is Kraton number 4. I'm not really sure what to call this one. It belongs to my son Jake, and I would have hoped by now that he would put it back together since that last bash session when he wrecked it. However, he's busy with everything else, and I have full understanding that RC is not his top priority right now. Now, since I can't really stand seeing it in this shape on the shelf, I guess I'm just going to go through it and put it back together for him. Now, my son bought this as a roller, and it seems like the previous owner built it from scratch using various parts, some which I like and some which I don't like. Anyway, last fall we basically just added electronics to this and went through it rather quickly. Took a test drive and it ran real well. After that we brought it to a Monster Air Bash event. It's a really nice place. They have a large area with a huge monster ramp. The truck kind of took off like a rocket on that ramp. Really nice. Now, jumping that ramp is really fun, and you do have a lot of air time to make corrections. However, in my opinion, it takes a bit of practice to make the jump just right, and the landing. From where you're standing, you can't really see the car entering the ramp, and you can't really see when you're about to exit the ramp either. And if you stand below, well, you can't really see where the car lands. Here's my Arrma Kraton on that ramp. So my son made the same kind of mistake I've done many times, overdoing it a bit. He managed to make a bad landing, and the rear half kind of broke off. Now, this area where you land is basically made of dirt, sand, and rocks, and most of the time it goes well, but sometimes you make a nice flat landing, but you hit some big rock sticking out. Now, that can really make a dent. I'm just gonna show you my outcast real quick. And here's my trusted outcast, and here's the damage from that last bash session, jumping that ramp. And as you can see, the chassis is all bent, and it has a couple of large dents in it, and really deep scratches as well. So that one is gonna need a new chassis for sure. Now for this Kraton, I'm not totally sure what happened. I have no video from the landing that I'm aware of. Either he hit the tower and that snapped, or the hinge pin holder bent. Then the arm went flying and the tower snapped due to that force. Now, this carbon fiber tower are from Markers RC. They're really nice, sturdy, flexy, and very lightweight. But if you're unlucky, it can break or snap if you get a direct hit on it on a hard surface, or if you happen to twist that up apart, I guess. So anyway, let's make a rundown and see what we got on this Kraton number 4. I guess we can call it Kraton Jake Edition. So starting from the front, we have the Arrma 4mm shocks with some RPM shock rod ends. We have RPM arms. We have MIP CVDs, really nice. We have GPM hubs, steering knuckles. We have GPM turnbuckles, and also in the front there's a Marker RC carbon fiber shock tower. And this is just a little Typhon tolling bumper. It did have an RPM bumper on there as well, but I probably borrowed it from some other car. And we have GPM hinge pin holders, GPM top steering plate, and upper hinge pin holders, I think. And for the Ackerman steering plate. I believe that's a Scorched RC titanium one. And we also have a GPM front brace. For the rear, GPM brace and Arrma 4mm shocks, RPM arms and mud guards. We have MIP CVDs as well. And we have GPM hubs. We have GPM hinge pin holders and GPM turnbuckles. And oh, I love that little mini bumper right there. And we have that Marker RC carbon shock tower as well. And I believe that's the missing piece right there from it. It's kind of hard to tell if it's been hit or not. I think when you hit it, the snapping happens rather quickly. The diff houses are just stock, but this one has a little hot racing cover right here. The diff cups are alloy as well, and I can't really remember when we had them apart if these are GPM or hot racing. And that's about it for the rear. For the electronics and middle, we have a ProTech RC 370 TBL servo. I think this servo is made for crawlers actually, but it seems to work nicely as a basher servo as well. And that one is seated in a hot racing servo mount. Now for the ESC, this is a Hobbywing Max 8, and the motor is a Hobbywing 4274 2200 kV, and we fitted a 15 tooth pinion on there. For the radio, it's just a Tactic TX300, and for the diffs, it's just stock right there in the center, and we're using 10K rear, 100K center, and 60K front CST for the diff oils. And this little fans right here, this is a racing heatsink together with those little included fans you get with that. And this is just a small adapter plate that I made, and just added a mesh right there to protect that ESC from debris. Other than that, we have an M2C Racing motor mount and front diff mount. We have Arrma center chassis brace, and we added a few other parts to that roller as well, and that was the front mud guards and the tall side guards from Outcast Notorious. And it just took a small mod right there in the rear to fit them just right. We added a V3 and newer battery tray and a V3 receiver box. The chassis is an M2C Racing, a really nice and solid chassis. You look underneath right here, we have all these scratches and stuff are actually from that one last bash session. But the chassis is still nice and straight even after that last crash. In the rear right here, we used a little M2C Racing skid plate. So that pretty much sums up the rundown of this Kraton, and let's move on to what we're going to do to it. So what are we going to do to this? Well, some vital parts are really strong, like the chassis for example, but it does contain a lot of GPM parts, which a lot of time are really not up to the task. Now, in the builder's defense, they're kind of easy to get to in Sweden, and they're cheap. So, and also I have no idea how much my son is going to bash with this one, or if it's just going to end up sitting on the shelf. So there's no meaning at this point to spend a lot of money on it, more than necessary anyway. Well, for the front, I'm going to change out that tower to a titanium one. And the hinge pin holders, I have a set of these really nice CRCU ones right there that I'm gonna fit front and rear. And for the bumper, I don't know if I'm just gonna fit a an RPM bumper on here again, or if I'm gonna use the EXB V5 Arrma one. I know I see that they make this piece now out of 7075 as well, so but then again, I already have the CRCU front piece right there, so we'll see, I guess. And I'm gonna change out the GPM turnbuckles for sure for some Arrma stock ones, which are much better in my opinion. I don't really see the need for alloy hubs, steering knuckles really. I never had any problems with the stock plastic ones. However, I am a bit curious how these are gonna hold up, so I'm just gonna let them be for now. Top steering plate is probably gonna change. I don't really like that the GPM one is a bit short right there of that chassis brake stop. Or that little ledge right there on the chassis brace. I never understood that really. Now I will probably look for another upper hinge pin holder, or I'm just going to keep this one right here. For the brace, same thing. I'm just going to keep this one for now as well, and probably just drill out the front right there to a 4mm hex instead. For the rear, I'm gonna fit a titanium tower. Now, since I'm gonna be using the RPM arms, I can't really use the EXB V5 style tower. Also, this is the older style M2C chassis with a bigger ear, so I'm sticking with RPM arms. And to get the geometry just right, I will either have to fit a tower that is made for the older models, the V4 and older. I don't have any other quality tower, so what I've done is I actually drew this up a while ago. It's basically a hybrid between the EXP tower and the V for an older stock one. So it's not as high, and it kind of mimics the EXP style right there, but the holes right here for the upper shock mount are made for the geometry of the together with the RPM arms. For the rest of the rear, just swap out these GPM hinge pin holders. I guess well, I have used these a couple of times in the past, but I guess they're not really up to the task when bashing a bit harder or jumping high. So luckily I have these CRCU hinge pin holders right there that I'm going to fit in the rear, so that's going to be nice. For the wing mount, I forgot about that. For the wing mount, probably just a stock one, or maybe a 3D printed TPU one. We'll see. For the rear brace, I'm going to keep this one as well for now. I'm just going to stick a longer screw from the bottom and a lock nut on top. But I know these are not made from any nice quality alloy and stuff, but I believe they work alright when fitted to a strong chassis. Now for the electronics, basically leave them be for now. We'll see later how the truck behaves with extra weight from the towers and all. And when we ran this last time, we had no real problems with heat with this setup right here. But while my son has a real tendency somehow to break fans, what I'm going to do on this one, starting with the ESC, I'm going to fit one of these high performance fans. Now this one is from Thunderoos, a couple of Swedish guys that specializes in custom fan setups. This is a really nice assembly which includes a high quality fan with heavy duty fan blades. And this one has an alloy mounting plate for an ESC, and it has an alloy top plate right here and a nice red paracorded power cable. Now these ones can be ordered in a bunch of different configurations, whether you're going to fit it to the ESC or the motor. Now this one is the 18,000 RPM one, and I'm gonna remove the plastic and the stock ESC fan right there, and just fit it and run it off the ESC fan port. Now for the motor right there, these included fans are a bit crappy, and dual surpass alloy ones kind of adds up to in cost. So although I like the lower profile of a setup like this, I might just fit one of these fan assemblies to the motor as well. We'll see. For the body, well, I usually don't show bodies in this workbench vids, but this is a Proline Enforcer. It's for a Mugen MB6 truggy, but I think they made a couple of versions. And those were the times when you cut these out, so basically you can and not pre-drilled, so you can basically fit it to whatever you want in that scale. Now this is totally my son's favorite RC body, and I'm a bit weak for it too, actually. I think this was one of the first aftermarket bodies we bought for our Arrmas, and I painted the first one with a fade paint, gunmetal and metallic red, and fitted that to Italian. Turned out nice. Now I painted this one with a Tamiya fluorescent yellow. I think the camera doesn't really do the color justice, showing that fluorescent pop. It looks really nice in real life though. So that kind of concludes the rundown of this Kraton number 4 Jake Edition. This was the last Kraton for now, and if you get the time, please check out my other Kratons on the workbench videos as well. Now summer is about to be in full bloom here in Sweden, so hopefully my next video is going to be a bash video instead. Hopefully you will check that one out, and thanks for watching this one.